occultists and occultists from my generation is like, oh, that's black magic. That's,
well, that's not me.
so.
Okay, let me change that.
I mean, who are we talking to? We're talking to people my age who are completely woohoo, right? They're like MAGA bitches.
Here we go.
I didn't say that out loud.
I'll just put psychic, intuitive, and professional reader. I'll just put that.
Yeah, see, I like that.
Okay.
Psychic intuitive. Okay. Because the occult, just the word.
They don't know enough about it to understand it.
Okay, so like I studied from Eleanor, I studied who was a yogi for however many, 40, 45 years. She was like in her 80s. And, Eleanor studied 14 lessons in yogi philosophy and Oriental occultism. And then there's advanced lessons in Oriental occultism. So I'm a little uncomfortable using the occult word because I know that most people are dumb shits and they think,
devil!
Yeah.
Satan!
Yeah.
Satan!
Aleister Crowley, right?
Yeah.
Of course, he's a total Satan worshiper.
Because I literally brought up alchemical symbols in a reading today, and an older woman, she was in her 40s, and she said, I was like, do you guys know your alchemical symbols? And she said, Aleister Crowley. I'm like, what?
Alchemy.
I know.
Like, Nostradamus?
Yeah.
Like, why is your go-to Aleister Crowley?
Exactly. I was just trying to...
the guy sharpened his fucking teeth.
I know.
Right? So scary.
So...
What's the scariest thing about Aleister Crowley that you know?
His hairline.
Burn. Okay, like, the scariest thing about Aleister Crowley to me was that he had this place... This is just Wikipedia. He had this place in France, I think it was, where they would gather and they would do their dark ceremonies and supposedly kill babies. But he said, "Oh well, I'm just ejaculating. I'm killing babies by ejaculating."
Oh yeah.
Right. You remember that?
Yeah.
But who knows? Nobody really knows. So how kinky they got or whatever like that. Maybe they were doing adrenochrome. We don't know. Anyway, so.
I remember the reason, you remember why he went crazy, right?
No.
He was trying to summon an angel, and the whole process to do that was so fucking complicated, and he had to basically stay, like, in, he had to obey the tenets of, like, this spell, but he got lazy because it takes a year to do it.
What?
To do the whole spell.
Get out.
And he got too fucking, because I learned this from Callie, and she said and she told me why he went crazy. And he was too lazy to do the whole fucking spell or be consistent with it to finish it all the way to the completion of the end. And that's why he went crazy.
Well, it makes sense because high magic and ceremonial magic, people are like, oh, you should do high magic or ceremonial magic, which involves the spells that Solomon did and the greater and lesser keys of Solomon. But the thing about Solomon that these guys leave out is he actually had a ring that was supposedly given to him by Archangel Michael, who is one of the archons of the Demiurge. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Demiurge?
I call it Demiurge.
Demiurge, okay. I often confuse
We should start recording and then do this.
Yeah, I know, but we are recording.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we are. It's totally cool.
Okay.
And our audience is going to love that because I was totally talking to you and you had no idea you were being recorded.
Okay.
So that's my little Scorpio. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, who were we just talking about? Yeah,
Aleister Crowley.
No. Solomon, who wrote Solomon's Keys, was actually practicing black magic because he had a key, a ring that could control demons, so that he could say, I want you to go here and do this mine sapphires and shit for me, right? But he had this ring that can control demons. So then based upon this, I'm just guessing that a group of morons, right? It's always a group of morons, like, those guys. And it's like they come up with this whole ceremonial magic thing. I'm sure that Solomon did not have to, like, make circles and do all these symbols
No.
and sigils and all of this
No.
shit because the practitioner stands over here, and then they got this like whole elaborate circle, and they summon a demon to that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the demon, they're supposedly, this is like some normal human who's not Solomon
Mm-hmm.
and does not have the magical ring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like wannabe.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want to be like Solomon, but
Mhm.
they don't have the fucking ring.
Mm-hmm.
So they call him, they call the demon there, and they're like, well, I want you to go do my bidding, you know, and then I'm going to get what I want, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the reason they have all that protection is because if the demon gets out of that circle,
They're fucked.
they're
Yeah.
fucking possessed. They're going to get their
Rip your ass in
kicked.
half. Yeah.
Yep, rip their ass in half. So this, and some people think, well, ceremonial magic is innocent, and scrying with an obsidian mirror and seeing shit in the mirror and stuff like this, and Ouija boards and all this shit. Oh, well, that's perfectly okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the problem is you're opening doorways to demons, and if you start chanting, I had this friend, and he was an elder in the Mormon church. He was much older, and in his later years, he was really into metaphysics and stuff. My buddy Ray, and who actually gave me the Melchizedek blessing, and he broke the laws of the Mormon church by giving me that. But Ray said, he calls me one day and he's so excited, and I was at church, and I came out after the coffee shop, and I'm just like, so he said, so I got this book, you're going to be really excited. I knew him back in Arizona, and he's like, you're going to be so excited. All you have to do is chant the name in this book for healing, or for money, or for this or that. And I said, and I was just kind of like, because I had read the Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon years before, because I have to deal with the devil, so I had to know what I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And demons and shit. That's my experience personally. And so I'm just like, so you're it's okay, Ray. Don't repeat this word over the phone with me right now.
Yeah.
But you've told me this word. I'm just like, why don't you go Google Wikipedia and the names of demons, or get a demonology encyclopedia or something like that, angels and demons. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure these are the names of demons. And he was just like going, you're kidding me. And he's like, those bastards. Because they were selling this book.
Yeah.
And he just bought this book, and he was so excited. All I have to do is chant this name, and I'm going to end up, you know, and I'm going to get this shit. Well, yeah, but then the guy shows up, because you're saying is you're chanting this demon's name over and over and over. And I mean, I don't know what part of stupid you missed there, but it's like the guy's maybe going to show up if you're casually interesting.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go, oh, yeah, I'll get you that. But you just have to sign right here. I mean, in the last year, I actually had a dream where I was in this dream with one of my ex-husbands, and he's in the dream, and he walks through and he goes, sorry. And he walks out, and these people come into this dream, and I'm in like this, there's like a massage table, and there's like this really big guy, like muscles, right?
I remember this.
There's this woman, and then there's some other guy, and they lay this contract on this massage table. And you guys listening, this is what the devil does, and this is what Satan does, is he has his little minions, and they come into your dreams and the dreams of kids, and they have you agree to something, and then they have you sign your and then this woman said, so does everything look okay here? And she has it laying on this massage table, which I'm a healer, right? So I'm like, this is an innocent environment.
Yeah.
It's obviously a healing center, right? And she's like laying this thing. I never saw these people before. I'm lucid, so I can wake up in dreams. And she says, so yeah, if everything looks okay here, why don't you just sign right here? And I just started to back out, like this way. I just started to back up and back up and back up, and then boom, I was back in my bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, these motherfuckers, they think that after 50 years of trying to fuck with me, right, that I'm going to do something in a dream when I'm...
Massage table contracts.
Right. But the thing that was weird is my ex-husband goes through there, and he goes, I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Because he was one of my shaman teachers.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but he looks back over his shoulder and he says, "I'm sorry," like that, and I'm like, "That's weird." Because I have had a lot of dreams about him where we're going to do this or we're going to do that. I mean, people dream about their exes occasionally.
Yeah.
And, but that was just a really super creepy dream. And they were trying to get me to sign for something, like something on the piece of paper. Like, you're going to fucking read a contract in a dream. This is where their intelligence screams, I'm stupid. Right? These demons and stuff, they're just assuming that you're in a sleepy sort of, you know what I mean, controllable state, like most people who sign contracts in their sleep are. And I'm just was like kind of going, don't these people know who I am? Do they really think I'm like this stupid right now?
Yeah.
Anyway, I woke up in my bed, and of course I put my protections around me, just like Hermione and Harry Potter, and from there. But anyway, you gonna introduce us or what?
Oh, okay. Wait, I wrote it down.
We're gonna have to call this episode
Episode 0, the Fool.
Miscellany. No. We can't use the word occult because the Christians will go. But we'll call this episode. What did they call the Star Wars episode?
The piece of Adam that didn't get used.
Episode 1. You know, like in Star Wars, like it was the Empire Strikes Back, and then they come up with what did they call it? 1. And then they had Jar Jar Binks, and it ruined the whole thing. They totally fucking Jar Jar Binks needs to be to Mars, right? Fuck Jar Jar Binks. He ruined everything. I never went to another Star Wars after that.
Understandable.
So are you going to introduce us?
He looks like a U.S. congressional politician.
I was thinking that when I watched that movie. I actually watched it in the theater. I thought, you know what? He looks like a U.S. congressional politician.
Yeah, a dilapidated ball sack. Yeah.
Dilapidated ball sack. I like your verbiage. It's really nice. It's rich.
Okay, my name is Dee. I am a psychic intuitive and professional reader, but I'm also joined with, we call this wonderful person a professor, and they're a teacher of psychology, a master healer, a shaman, and a mystic. And there's a huge other bunch of titles that they've worked very hard to earn over the years, but we don't have time for all that. So, yes.
Oh, I see what you did there.
What did I do?
Like, my eyes are wet on you. So they're wondering. Okay, so I teach psychology, metaphysics, Reiki, vibrational healing, and world religions and Eastern philosophies. Just that. Just that stuff.
See.
That. What she said.
Yeah! Yeah.
So what we're basically doing is we're doing an exploration of different Bible verses or thoughts in the Bible that Christians believe and kill people over, and it's very serious and everything. But actually, we're going to bring other facts from history, like the Sumerians, the Anunnaki, and so on and so forth. So you had a verse that you wanted to ask me about.
Oh, yeah.
Genesis 1. Can you read that to us?
I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second.
It's hard to get good help when they're free.
It is. I can attest because I've been bad on both sides.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. What does that mean exactly? Because, you know, if you don't really have modern science, you could really think the earth is 6,000 years old or however long.
I'm sorry. The description of, basically the description is Zecharia Sitchin's 12th planet, where Zecharia Sitchin goes into, he's translated the Sumerian tablets, which they found, I believe, don't quote me on this, the early 1900s. And they had thousands, they found thousands and thousands of these Sumerian tablets. which were from the very first civilization that goes all the way back to 450,000 years ago. And it talks about the brothers Enlil and Enki and Anu, which is basically Odin and Thor and Loki. I know, cat's out of the bag. But so he goes into the creation of the earth. I'm more interested in talking about when they said, "Let us make man in our own image," and they said, "Let us make man in our own image," and they were called the Elohim. So this is what the Christians miss, is what the ministers miss, is that there's, what did Jehovah say? He said, "I'm a jealous God, and there are no other gods before me." He's making a statement. His name is actually Yaldabaoth from the Secret Book of John. Jehovah in the Bible, in the Old Testament, is actually the God of this world, who is Lucifer, right? Should I set an alarm clock for when you're going to wake up? I'm just teasing.
You can.
Can I? What time should I? Anyway.
Do you have a cigar?
I do. Do you want one?
Yes, please toss it.
Oh, do you want a cigar?
Yes.
Oh, no. Here we go.
I had a hard day at the
You've had a hard day?
Well, I didn't have a hard day. I just read a lot of people today. Oh, I love that.
Isn't that awesome?
That is so fucking cool.
It's very,
show the audience if you can.
What? Show
That.
them my
That
cigar.
book.
Oh, this is very cool. This is the perfect tome that you can hide your cigars in.
Or your bodies. Wait, no, that's not big enough for that. You can hide your guns and knives.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
You've got a thing, right?
Yeah, I got my lipstick.
Okay, so anyway, so basically what had happened with the Anunnakis, they found gold on Earth, and they needed the gold for the atmosphere of Nibiru. Nibiru makes a 36,000 year trip around the sun, and it lines up with the changes of the Earth that happen every 3,600 years, and it's very lining up with much in the Bible. So they needed a human. Enki is a genetic scientist, and he came to Earth. He was sent here because he was trying to take over the planet Nibiru, which is where the gods were from.
He was a salty piece of shit.
He was salty. And so Anu had freed the planet from this guy called Alalu, which I suspect is a reptilian god. And because Enki is also half reptilian and half Anunnaki. Okay, so Enki challenged his father. He says, I want to take over Nibiru. Enlil, who is Thor, the storm god, throughout all time. You can look it up in many different religions and cultures. He basically said, I want to run this place. They had kicked out Alalu down to Mars. Okay, so Alalu went to Mars, and then Alalu traveled over and went to Earth. So when Alalu, the former leader of Nibiru, came to Earth, he found gold. And he makes a phone call or something like that to Anu, and he says, hey, I found gold on Earth. We need it for the atmosphere. You know, my guess is every 3,600 years they go around the sun. Obviously, they don't need much sunlight if they're that far out, but when they get close to the sun, they get too close to the sun, and then it starts to burn them all up and shit, which is not a good day, and that could last for a long time and kill a lot of people. So Alalu's like, well, could I be the leader of Nibiru again, since I found gold on Earth and I'm saving Nibiru? And Anu's like, yeah, go fuck yourself. And so, and then he's like, you know what? I got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
My son is trying to overthrow me and take over the whole planet. So it's basically Odin. So then, of course, you know, this has to be answered. So they take Enki and they get the fuck out of here. So he's basically Lucifer in the Christian Bible. He goes, they throw him down to earth. So he becomes the god of earth, and he's the god of the underworld. So it fits. It fits all with the Bible. He's there for a very long time. He's a genetic scientist. And I think one of his half-sisters comes down and she helps him. And they try to create... They bring a lot of the people from the planet, the Anunnaki, down to Earth.
What was the sister's name?
I can't remember. It's Ninema or Ninhursag. I'm dyslexic, so I get them mixed up. So don't ask me names. You can get Zecharia Sitchin's 12th planet. Look it up yourself.
Is she one of the Sumerian goddesses?
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. So I want to answer your original question. So keep that, kind of earmark that. So they need to mine this gold to save Nibiru. So they send all these Anunnaki down to Earth, and they're giants, and they start mining the gold. And they start mining the gold, and they're mining the gold for thousands of years. They're mining the gold, right? And finally, the Anunnaki, I don't know if they're getting paid for this, finally the Anunnaki are just like, fuck you, Anu, fuck you, Enlil and Enki. We're not going to do this anymore. Just go fuck yourselves. And so they just basically go out and just start living on Earth. And I guess he doesn't really go into it, but they just go off and they just kind of do their own thing. Maybe some of them go back to Nibiru. I don't know. It's not really significant in this story. So then Enki comes up with this idea. He says, well, if we come up with, and they had, the 12, the Council of 12 of Nibiru, and they have a meeting. It's probably on a spaceship or something like that. And Enki's like, well, why don't we make a slave race of people so that we can have them mine the gold? And we'll just take care of them here. We'll live here with them, and then they can mine the gold. And so none of the gods were okay with it. Nobody wanted Enlil and the rest of them, the rest of the 10, Anu, Enlil, and the rest of them were like, this is fucked up. We don't want to make a slave. We don't want to have a slave race, anything like that. But they had to have the gold. It was the survival of the whole planet. So they said, okay, Enki, go about trying to make a slave, a human, or and then we can have them mine the gold. So Enki eventually gets tired. I'm suspecting, this is my own conjecture, that maybe this is how we got the Minotaur, maybe Pegasus, maybe Unicorn. I don't know. Enki is like the Dr. Moreau on the island of Dr. Moreau. That's who he is. So he's coming up with all this stuff, and he's got Neanderthals are living here at that time, but he couldn't train a Neanderthal to do the stuff, so they wanted a human. So this is where Charles Darwin comes in. He says there's a missing link between Neanderthal man and the upright human man, and there's like this drastic link, the missing link. And so what happens is Enki requests the DNA of Enlil, who is the storm god Thor. And Enlil and Anu decide to come to Earth. And so they build their temple in Nippur, and they give their DNA to make the African people. Enlil did. And so the African people were made, and the African people were put to task to be the slaves. This is where the African people came from originally, and they actually have royal blood. The rest of the Anunnaki who came to the Earth do not have royal blood, unless they are a descendant of Enlil or Enki. So this is why it's so sad to see the African people so oppressed today, because they are the only race of people on the Earth, aside from the royal family, who actually has royal blood. So this is the Elohim, in answer to your question, to the Bible verse. And they created, let us make man in our own image. So Enlil was, of course, a superior, his body, his mind. I mean, he is a god, and he has given his DNA. And so they came up with the original Eve, who we believe is African, and then the original Adam was made by Yaldabaoth, who was a perfect being. You can find out more about that by reading the secret book of John. You can find in the Gnostic library. And so that's basically an answer to the question. And then the next thing would be the original sin of Enki raping Eve. But they had humans on Earth for thousands of years mining the gold, and they basically, from what I understand, are a hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't like a normal people. They were just like not even like pets. They were just like a hive mind. That's not true of today. This is just in the very, very beginning. I guess Enki did not want the humans to have the Anunnaki, the Council of 12, did not want the humans to have consciousness or awareness that they were slaves. So like the ant, the queen ant controls the hive.
It's like biomachines.
Maybe.
Can't really suffer, but like, you know.
You know, that's actually a very good description.
Yeah. Imagine if like Siri was like an actual human person, but she couldn't feel and she couldn't really think for herself.
And yeah.
So.
But I mean, and it's really weird because one time I think I said "fuck" to Siri, or like "you bitch" or something like that to Siri.
Yeah.
Can we cuss? Are we allowed to cuss on this? And too bad, too late.
Yeah.
And she's like something like, "Don't use that language."
Yeah. She's like, please don't say that to me.
So that's weird, right? I think that's weird. So she was either programmed to do that, but not to digress. Does that answer your question? Do you have any other questions about that?
No.
And my sources are basically Zecharia, Sitchin's The 12th Planet, and the Holy Bible. Do you have another question? Another topic?
I'm trying to think.
You want to discuss?
I'm trying to think. I wish we had like a live chat where we could answer.
That would be really cool, and then we could, have people call in and ask questions and stuff.